There we go. It's better with coffee and tools. Yeah. Texas backyard here. Now, this week, going to cover something that a lot of homeowners run into, and electricians, people that do tile work, stuff, they just don't seem to know that this thing even exists. And it's a simple fix, but you know, it can be hard to figure out. So let's take a look at a couple of examples, I guess, or a bad example in this case, and just show you what this particular client, what he ran into, and he didn't know how to solve the problem. So I think a lot of people have that. Okay, this is a good situation to look at. What happens is they change the surface, or like they go from a lap type of siding or T111 siding, something like that, and they go into this like a shake or something that's thicker. The same thing happens in the kitchen, and when you have tile or anything like that, where you have like a backsplash, you get into a situation where the receptacle is too far back. And now people have done all kinds of things like try to bring the box forward, this sort of thing, or in this case, this gentleman here has cut actually into the lumber to try to go back there to where he can get the screw, get the cover plate back on. This is really not the way to do it at all. So what I'm going to show you is a simple way to fix this problem. Here's a good example where we've added backsplash with tile, which is thicker, and it brings the ball out further than the receptacle, and then it becomes a problem when you go to put the cover on and you can't reach the receptacle anymore. This is probably not the best example, but I'm going to show you a static example here shortly. But this is the sort of work that you get into, and a lot of times you'll find out quickly that the cover won't fit on, and you'll break the cover trying to put it on. So here's a sample. We're outside the wall now, but here's the box that might be mounted inside the wall, for example. And this area here is going to be flush with the with whatever's on that wall, drywall, whether it be wood, whatever. It's going to be, you know, it's going to be like this. It's going to be absolutely flush to the box. Now, what happens is somebody comes along and decides they want backsplash or something like that in the kitchen, and these outlets are already installed. So a lot of times what happens now is the board now comes up and it's thicker than the receptacle. So you now have this huge profile, and the wall, this is now inset into the wall, and you can't even get the cover on properly. There's a simple method to fix this, and I'm going to show that to you right here in a second. And it'll take you just a few seconds to get this job done. Okay, so here's the receptacle and just the box. I just wanted to show you this. Normally this area here would be pretty much flush with the wall, with the finish on a drywall or some, you know, whatever type of material you're dealing with. Also same with the outside plugs. And if somebody comes back with something, a contractor comes through or a tile guy, they add this huge profile here, and you can see, you know, here, I'll just turn so you can see it. All of a sudden you're really thick. And this is set back now, so the cover can't even go back on properly. There's a really simple fix for this, and the industry, for some reason, a lot of people just don't seem to know. So that's why we're covering this today, because I actually went to Home Depot and also went to Lowe's, and I picked up some spacers for these things, just to, you know, show you guys today what's going on with this. But it's a simple fix, and these spacers work really great. So say I need to bring this thing. I obviously need to bring just this is all I need to bring. That needs to come out further in order to put the cover on. The box can stay where it is. So don't unscrew the box or try to get the box forward. Another kit I don't like is they also have a kit sometimes for box extension. That's really okay in certain applications, but in this situation where you've just come back and you've added backsplash to your kitchen or something, and you've increased this profile, you know, 1/4 of an inch or whatever, to get the cover back on these to seal nicely to the wall and look clean, it's a simple fix. Let's here, I'm just going to back the screws out with the power driver I've got here, and all you're going to do is, there we go, back the screws out to bring this forward. Now here's the big secret. If you go to Lowe's or Home Depot, I think I'll see if I can supply a link to eBay or something too. You can order these things. This is your spacer. This is all you need, is these little plastic spacers. And all this is going to do is So here's the plastic spacers. And what you're going to do is try to get the bag open. Apparently I didn't do that before I set up today. So we'll open these now. So there's the bag, and they're kind of like think of like Legos. And they have these two little plastic dots in them and a little bit of a space. And you can fold these things over and increase. And you can also tear them, break them off to whatever fold you need. Now these will just pop down. Oops, you'll pop down in behind the screw like this. Okay, we need to bring the screw out a little further, so let's... Nothing works perfect around here. It never does. Okay, the screw's way out of town now here. But all these do is they have a slot in them. And that little slot is going to allow you to get the spacer down in behind like that. And now you can tighten this back up. And of course do the top and the bottom depending on what you need. And that gives you that extra space. Now that wall can now have, in this case, a 1/4 of an inch thickness, and this will still be flush to the point where the wall, so the cover can go on properly, and it's going to give you a nice looking job. So if you're into tile work, maybe you're a drywaller, or you do siding for a house even, or anytime you're working and renovating a kitchen and you get into backsplashes that are thick, this is how to fix the problem. You just get these spacer kits and you put them in here on the top and of course on the bottom. Actually, let's just go ahead and do the bottom one just because it'll feel right. Now notice I fold this over and it's like Lego. It kind of plugs in. And then again, because of the little slot, I can put the spacer up in behind and then drive the screw back down. Oop. Okay, hold the spacer in a little bit. Drive the screw down. And now you have this is now a 1/4 of an inch higher than the box. Now each of these pieces here represents 1/8 of an inch. So if you fold it over like that, that's a 1/4 of an inch. If you need a 1/2 inch, you would use 4 pieces like that to gain a full 1/2 inch gap if you needed it. And again, see the gap right through, which will fit over the screw. Now if you need a longer screw, that's easy too. You'll need to go to a hardware store such as Lowe's or Home Depot, whatever, and you need 632. That's in America, an American measurement. If you need it in metric, I can't help you. I have no idea what we can do in a metric anymore. It's a shame, but it is what it is. So I'm giving this whole situation in standard measurements, of course. Sorry guys in Germany or wherever you might be, but this will simply bring this forward, and you don't have to move the box. You don't have to worry about it. You don't even have to necessarily remove this. Just back the screws out far enough to where you can get your spacers underneath, tighten your screws back down, and now I've got a piece of lumber here, and now you can now put your cover on like this, and it's going to be flush with that board for say. Just for an example, I'm just using this piece of lumber here for an example, but I didn't have any backsplash or tile, just happened to be laying around today. But I wanted to cover this topic, and like I said, I'll provide a link on eBay or something there. See, but you can also get these. Now, when you go to Home Depot or Lowe's, you're going to be going into the aisle where the little solderless type ring connectors and fork connectors, electrical stuff is. Look down towards the bottom of the floor. Usually that's where the stores seem to stash this stuff. They keep it in that area. So that's the area of the store you're going to be looking at. I don't know from what store, what aisle, of course, but in the electrical section, and specifically look for the ring and lock type connectors and stuff for electrical connections, and the spacers will be right in that area. So that's where you'll need to get them. And they're just, like I said, they're just like a Lego thing. But it gives you can open this up and add 1/2 inch profile, whatever you need. And don't forget too, you may not have to panic about screws, because receptacles in the industry, look at the length of that screw. I mean, that's still in there. So that's still another almost a full 1/2 inch I could add to this receptacle and still keep it tight to the fixtures. And with these spacers, you can lock the screw back down, keep this really nice and rigid and tight still, so it's still a good installation. It's still nice and tight to the box and everything. So yeah. And we'll get down here. Hey guys, coffee and tools. Oh, always have my coffee with my tools, right? This is a home situation, and I had to cover it this week because I ran into it at a couple of installations, and I've run into it over the years. And I was really surprised when I talked to people in Lowe's and in Home Depot. The help in there was unaware of this sort of thing and didn't know what these were even for or how they even worked. So that's why the video today. Hey, have a great week, these guys, and we'll see you next week with another crazy idea. Bye.